What am I supposed to do? We have medical coming.
If possible and the conditions allow, officers will render first aid.
Leaders in Utah's law enforcement community are reacting to a statement by Salt Lake City attorneys saying victims of violent crime have no constitutional right to receive first aid from responding police officers.
Fox 13 News investigative reporter Adam Herbets has an update from Salt Lake Police Headquarters.
Well, we've been talking to chiefs and sheriffs throughout the day, and they all have a similar reaction. They don't want to comment specifically on the actions of another department's officers, but they were surprised when they saw the statement because they want people to know if you call 911 in their area, they do expect their officers to give first aid.
Who did?
No.
You don't know?
Help.
Salt Lake City is facing a lawsuit because of what these officers didn't do in 2020.
Are you letting him just like?
We're not paramedics. We have medical on the way.
Ian Anderson and Jada Brown refused to give first aid to a stabbing victim. Ryan Outlaw eventually died at the hospital.
I think I had the same reaction that a lot of people did. Really, in rural areas, there's officers that have to do first aid for up to 30 minutes before the volunteer fire department comes.
Chad Soph used to be the chief of Woods Cross PD. He was surprised that Salt Lake City's defense includes this statement. Mr. Outlaw had no constitutional right to receive adequate medical care because he was not arrested or detained.
How can you say that victims compared to suspects don't have a right to first aid? A constitutional right doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
I feel like I should have grabbed my chest seal, but there was just so much going on at that moment.
Yeah, my former department, they all had chest seals, and it's just a little blood clotting device that's placed over an open wound that stops the bleeding. And I'm pretty sure that's what she was talking about.
Chiefs and sheriffs across Utah have now watched the body camera video. Most of them did not want to comment on the specifics of the case, but wanted the public to know they all have first aid training and clear expectations for their officers. Roy Police Chief Matthew Gwynn: my staff are trained and are encouraged to render first aid, regardless of whether the injured party is a suspect or a victim. Utah County Sheriff Mike Smith: never do you have the authority to take someone's dignity from them. If you are injured in Utah County, our deputies will be there to do everything within their ability to help you. Bountiful Police Chief Ed Beeler: once the threat is taken care of, yes, we have a responsibility to render aid to people. Roosevelt Police Chief Mark Watkins: law enforcement as a service to the public should render first aid when possible. I am curious as to how they came to their conclusion. Farmington Police Chief Eric Johnson: I'm a bit shocked at the stance. Certainly not how we train or culture we subscribe to. Perry Police Chief Scott Hansey: it's disheartening to hear anybody say that another human being doesn't have a right to first aid.
It's not like you're administering an IV or giving drugs to somebody. You were trying and you were doing your best, and that's what it boils down to.
We also reached out to the state senators who represent Salt Lake City. A spokesperson for Democrats Luz Escamilla and Jennifer Plum said they have no comment indefinitely because they don't feel comfortable commenting without understanding the law. We asked if they're working to understand the law, but got back no response.
So you wouldn't have said something like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm not a paramedic.
Yeah, that seemed inappropriate to me because if someone's bleeding, what do you do? When someone's bleeding, that's what you do. You stop the bleeding.
We do want to be clear. Salt Lake City PD also has a first aid policy, and that's why some of the people we've interviewed wonder if this is just some sort of disconnect between Salt Lake City attorneys and the police department. Rather than speculate, it's a question we'd love to ask Salt Lake City PD, but they have ignored our request for comment for the last 17 days. Reporting at the Public Safety Building, Adam Herbets, Fox 13 News, Utah.